give me a thumbs up or something. Thanks. Amzi's going to tell me. You can hear me okay? Thanks, Amzi. All right, great. Hey there. Cool. Appreciate it. So I know Amzi's been to a bunch of these. Allison, Eric, Joseph, Keith, Patricia, you guys are likely new. Do you have a pretty good idea of what we do, or do you want me to kind of take it from the top? Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I'll kind of go through. Normally on these things, we've been running like a pre-recorded, like high level demo, who we are, what we do, kind of a thing. But since then, we've seriously updated the website. So I'm gonna just go through it quickly, and I'll have April put this in the chat because it's the best thing to, look at to get like a really good, high level idea of who we are, what we do, which is just a blog homepage. So I made like, I don't even know, 15, 16 videos on this that talk about everything from start to finish. And, our new tagline is everything you need to start, run, and grow a successful art business, which I think is pretty reflective. Most people think that we're, just a website company. And really what we attempt to do as a business, Art Storefronts, is create the best set of conditions possible such that an artist or a photographer can make a significant business and reach the level of sales that they want to reach. And sadly, website just not enough to get that done. Not even close enough to get that done. Most people think they have a website problem, and their problems are actually way more significant in marketing. But we believe we have, and I'm on a customer's website here. I'm feeling Christmassy, so it's Santa Claus again. But we have more art and photography selling features than any other competitor out there, and it's not even really close. It's what we specialize in is wall art. It's essentially what we do. So we've got a whole suite of features that take the art selling process and attempt to remove as much friction from it as possible. What do I mean when I say friction? I mean things that would get in the way from a buyer being able to give you the credit card and get the deal done. We have simple things like a media type browser. And so if they choose a watercolor paper, it'll show a watercolor paper. Or if they choose a canvas, it'll morph into a canvas. And, it's little things like that across the board that really help with the visualization process. We have this tool called the wall preview tool, which is pretty cool. And it allows you to like step a piece up and down in size, choose a couple of different backgrounds that it might actually fit in, and then change the wall color, right? And it's all the best selling, oh, that's ghastly. It's all the best selling colors from Sherman Williams and Benjamin Moore. So, people can visualize instantaneously what the art's going to look like on their wall and be able to pick the proper size. Most people don't know what, oh, he doesn't have that. Does he have them on? Most people don't even know what the majority of the media types look like. So we've got built-in merchandising videos that explain what and I could make this full screen, but I don't want to do it. What is a canvas gallery wrap? What is a metal print? What is a wood print? What do they look like? What do they look like on the wall? Are they ready to hang? All of that stuff. We have a pretty crazy advanced feature that we get a lot of credit for, which is what we call live preview with augmented reality. And the cool thing about this is that, and you can see there's a phone here on the right-hand side, but someone can take their phone, iPhone or Android, go to your website and be on the product page and click the live preview. You can kind of see what's going on over here on the right. Click the live preview with AR button. They don't have to have any software downloaded. They don't need to do any app or anything else. All they have to do is click allow. And what this does is it takes the camera on your cell phone and it takes what the camera is showing, which is this room in this case, and they're allowed to take your piece and project it on the wall in augmented reality. And so what this does is that it just removes some of the friction, right? Like what size should I be for this exact space? What is it going to look like? I can take a screen share. I can send it to my significant other. So it's a pretty cool feature in the sense that it works without any app download or anything else. And they can cycle through as many of your pieces as they want. The whole point is, again, remove the friction, remove that thing that would prevent them potentially from actually buying, right? And April, can you watch the waiting room? And we have a whole suite of features like that. It's just a ton. And everybody thinks it's like one individual feature, and it's not. I've been doing e-commerce my entire career, and there's a million different little things that can prevent a sale from going over the line. And, as a company that builds websites to sell art and photography, our job is to try and include as many things as possible in the software to remove the friction from the buying process, right? To make the sales a little bit easier to get over the line, to convert. And that's on the website. And we do this demo process because the demo actually runs like an hour. to go through every single solitary feature and bell and whistle that we have, which is a tremendous amount. We've got a ton of back-end tools too that won't be visible on the website that help with things like markups and media options and uploading one image and having all the various different sizes sorted with one click so you don't have to do anything. That takes sort of some of the admin related tasks out of running an art or a photo business, which is really cool. We do automated print and merchandise fulfillment. So there's a whole bunch of scenarios that come into play. Say you're a painter and you only sell originals, you don't sell prints. Well, obviously, if you signed up with us, you got an order, it's an original, you would be required to ship that on your own. What if you use a local printer that you like? You can use the local printer. It's what we call self-fulfillment. And you can get an order, forward the email to your printer, they can print it and ship it, that's fine. Or we have completely automated fulfillment, which is you get an order, you get paid, printer gets paid, your logo gets slapped on the side of the box gets shipped to the customer, you touch absolutely nothing, which is how we recommend most of our customers go. We are partnered with Bay Photo on the West Coast and a company called Graphic Dimensions on the East Coast. Oh, good. Am I still screen sharing or no? I'm not. Let me get this back up again. We just recently integrated too with a company called Guten that does, like merch, all kinds of merch. And let me just pull it up. I'll show you. I realize. So you have the option to turn this on or not turn this on. Up to you. But you can sell things like hoodies, and it's going to take a second for his image to get on there, and phone cases, and throw pillows, and tote bags, and T-shirts, and mugs. And we, just recently added puzzles and greeting cards. We're about to do calendars, and really the feeling for us at the end of the day was like, you know, you guys are essentially creators, right? And you create, whether you're a photographer, whether you're a painter, or an artist of any kind, you create imagery. So you should have as many ways to monetize that talent as possible. Sell merch or don't sell merch, doesn't matter to me, right? If you want to turn it on for a short period of time, not turn it on, totally okay too. But in that example, I showed you, it's like he sells primarily, wall art, but this Santa Claus thing is taken off. I mean, he just keeps selling these pillows. People are buying him like 4 pillows at a time as Christmas decor. And it's like he just painted a Santa because he wanted to paint a Santa. And, is that the be all end all? I mean, what is a pillow? A pillow's $44. But if he's selling them 4 at a time, it's like, you know what? That's great. That's another way in which he can monetize his artistic talent, which I think is really cool. So we have the ability to do that, to sell merchandise, which is really cool. Get back to my notes here. Hold on. And that's the fulfillment. We have absolutely incredible support. It's sort of one of the things that we're known for, and it happens in all the ways that you need support. Yes, there's email support. Yes, there's phone support. Yes, there's chat support. We have live Zoom teaching that goes on once you get your site launched. You can say, hey, here it is. What do you think? And our experts will look at it and audit it in a live workshop. We have tech support via Zoom calls just like this, where you can pop on, talk to any member of our support team. They'll get you unstuck. So the point is, you're not searching forums or searching Google for how to fix something, and get back up and running. We're actually going so crazy on our support that we're now supporting third-party applications, meaning twice a week you can come into a Zoom session, and if you're having problems with Facebook, we can help you. If you're having problems with MailChimp, we can help you. If you're having problems with Instagram, we can help you. Facebook ads, email marketing, any of it, our staff is there and they'll help you. You pop into a call. We even run them on Saturdays. Between the tech support and the marketing support, I think we run those 6 days a week, about 2 hours a day. So there's 18 hours in a week, where you can pop into a Zoom session. You don't need to schedule. You don't need to announce anything. Pop in. I'm stuck on this. Can you help me? And because it's Zoom, you can share your screen. Our techs do this all day. They'll look at it. They'll fix it. And I'm really proud of that, because name me another company that's good at supporting their own application, let alone Facebook or Instagram or MailChimp or any of the rest of them. So I think it's a really killer feature. And it, again, it speaks to, we try to create all the circumstances possible to help turn artists and photographers' businesses into successful businesses. One important way to do that is to not have artists and photographers monkeying around with tech support. That is the last thing that we want you to do. Why? Because all artists and photographers have a marketing problem. It's the biggest problem they have. You're not driving enough eyeballs, attention, and traffic to your website, to your art. You do not have enough people on your email list. Without those things, you're never going to grow a significant business. So that's what we teach you to do all year long. And it really is the biggest problem. It's where we want you spending all of your attention. So how do we do that? For lack of a better term, and until I come up with one, we pretty much have a full-blown art business university. It can easily be thought of as a college. That's exactly what it's like, except you pay a tuition once and you don't ever graduate. There are no graduates because the learning never stops. I mean, that's literally what it's like. And so, there's kind of four pillars um, to what the art business university is. Number one, it starts with our playbooks. That's our version of online digital education. So we'll take something like how to run a sale from start to finish, and we'll give you videos on every single solitary aspect of it, how to do it, what applications, how to go live on Instagram with a camera, what to do before, during, and after. And it's step by step by step, small digestible videos that you can go back to at any point in time that teach you absolutely all of the things that we advocate you do to grow in art and marketing, an art and a photo business, and how to do that marketing today's day and age with the technology that actually works. And they're really good. They're constantly getting updated, so you're not searching Google on how to do something. Problem with digital education? Absolutely not enough. All the stats out there say that like 25 to 35% of the people that buy a course, say you buy a course on how to run Facebook ads, 25% of the people finish it. Why? Because learning on your own in isolation only works for some people. Most people it doesn't. You need more than that. So the playbooks are there. We have them. They're awesome. We have hundreds of them on all these different topics and subjects. That's for do it yourself, learn at your own pace. Then we have a calendar, which is a 365-day a year marketing plan. It tells you what to do. I'm not kidding. Week in, week out, 52 weeks a year. And so, if there's a task, hey, run a sale. Okay, run a sale. Here are the two or three playbooks. Excuse me. Two or three playbooks that correspond to how to run this sale. You can go check those out if you want. Here's the calendar. Here's what you should be doing. And the plan is there on the calendar. The plan is there split up into like three levels, like beginner, intermediate, and advanced. We had people that are selling well over $500,000 worth of art a year that follow it verbatim. And then we have some people that sell $30,000 a year and they follow it when they want to follow it. So I'd love everyone to follow it all the time. It works quite well. We're constantly updating it and iterating on it, but it's there and you have the ability to follow it or not follow it. Next is really the secret sauce of the whole art business university, which are the workshops. And we have multiple sessions a week, Zoom calls, just like the one you're on now, where essentially we segment our customer base into three levels. If you've not sold $2,000 on your site yet, you're in this Zoom session. If you sold over $2,000 on your site, you're in this Zoom session. If you sold over, I think, $30,000, we have a threshold, you're in the advanced session. And week in, week out, it's a Zoom call like this with myself, members of my team, where we'll go over the playbooks, we'll go over the calendar, and then we open it up to Q&A. Here's what questions do you have, right? What do you have going on in your art business that you need help with? And they've been so profound. We started running them just a little bit before the pandemic hit. And if I had 100 customers pre-pandemic and I said, guys, we're running our Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale. Here's how you're going to do it. And all I had was the playbooks. Yeah, you could say the podcast. Yeah, you could say the blog. Maybe I would have gotten 35 out of those 100 customers to take action. Since we started doing the workshops, you're in a group on a Zoom call with your peers. Everyone's cameras on. We teach the thing. People are asking questions. Oftentimes, there's the questions. If one person asks it, 20 people have that problem. And then, 1 week goes by. The next week comes up and you see someone who's your peer that went and did this thing and sold a bunch of art. And here's how they did it. And oh, by the way, here are the Facebook posts I did. Go look at my Facebook post. Here was the email text that I used. It's been phenomenal. I'm now getting like 75, 80 people to execute out of that original 100, just based on the fact that I now have digital education and in-person teaching. It's the secret sauce. It is literally the secret sauce. And in this world that we live in, this pandemic world, like video teaching has just become the norm. Everyone's doing it all the time. And my argument is like, there is no more effective way, in person aside, to no more efficient way, I would say, to get things done, get your problems fixed, and to get on the right path than video teaching. It's as good as it gets. It's as good as it gets aside from being in person. And we've got a customer base that's all over across the United States and Canada and other countries now too. And you get them all in a Zoom call. Everyone's talking about the same thing. We're going over the calendar. Here's the sale that we're going to run. Here's how we're going to run it. Here's what you need to do. You're going to hear from your peers, and it's just been game changer, complete game changer. What happens when you can't make the sessions? We have secretaries for each and every video that take notes, and they're timestamp notes. And so if the session goes 2 and 3 hours, you miss it, You get an email from us after you've missed a session. Here are the top 5 things that you must see, and then every single solitary question and answer all the way down. Sometimes it's like 60, 70 questions, and you can just scan the headlines. If you're like, oh my gosh, I have that question, you click the link, takes you exactly right to the timestamp on the video. You watch it and you're out. So you can condense when you can't attend the sessions into really, really short clips and feel like you got the benefit of it, right? Like if you missed class, so to speak. We follow that up finally with the community. We have a private Facebook group that's highly curated, hand curated, so all the posts are good. We've got paid moderators in there, and it's very, it's one of the most positive artist and photographer communities on the net. I mean, if you probably some of you are members of other ones that are out there, there's so much negativity and nonsense going on in there, right? In ours, you're hearing from people that are working on trying to grow their businesses. They're actually making sales and doing well in their businesses, and they're telling everything that they did. I just had my first live art show. Here's how it went. I sold 16 pieces. Here's where I screwed up. Here, go watch my video. Here's how I got. Here's how you can get better. And we have people from every niche of art imaginable in there. Like there's 30 people in there that do pets as the niche, right? And so you can ask those types of questions of your fellow pet folks, like what are you doing for lead generation? How is this working out? So all collectively, the playbooks, the calendar, the workshops, and then the Facebook group is sort of the Art Business University, and it never stops. We will never stop it. I imagine we are going to move as a company, are already moving towards essentially a retail business. We're a retail business, not on Main Street. We're a retail business on Main Street of the internet. And we are live on video 9 to 5, 6 days a week. It's a profound thing to say, but it's true. You pop in anytime. Tech support, boom, you can pop in and get help. Marketing support, boom, you can pop in and get help. The office hours sessions, which is what we call the workshops, you can pop in, learn what you need to learn, but the video teaching is there. And again, what's underpinning it is it's just more efficient. If my job is to take as many of you as possible and make you successful in your careers of selling art or photography, I need access to you on video so we can get things fixed instantaneously and you get back into your marketing, which is the whole game. To round it all out, about 4 months ago, we realized, and surprise, surprise here, most artists and photographers don't want to do the marketing. Period, full stop. So I don't like that because it's your business. Everyone needs to understand the marketing piece of it a little bit, or someone's got to do the marketing work, period. But we started an in-house marketing agency, and we've serviced, I think, over 275 customers now. And I don't like it, and I like it. Okay, why do I not like it? Because if you're an artist, or you're a photographer, let's take it out of that, and let's say you own a McDonald's, right? If you own a McDonald's, you're the owner. You need to know how to be the janitor. You need to know how to close and open the place. You need to know how to operate the drive-through window, operate the cash registers, do the ordering, flip the burgers, make the fries, right? The chicken McNuggets, all of it. Once you know all of it, then no one can snow you on it. You understand all of these aspects. So I love when you come in, first learn how to execute a sale, right? And how that all works. Learn how to post on Facebook and Instagram and what that looks like. Then once you have the mastery of it, if you want to bring someone in, fine. So the agency does everything from you come in, you're a customer, you don't even want to build the website, you don't want to touch it, you just want to drop a folder with names and images, fine, they'll build the entire website. They'll run your Facebook ads. They'll tune up your Instagram account or tune up your Facebook account so it's following best practices and standards. They'll help you run a sale. They'll run your Facebook ads for you. They'll post on your social sites on a regular basis. And all of it's sort of available as a la carte off the shelf. And it's still in beta. We're still growing it up, but I think already, just based on the fact that there are almost none of them out there, I think it's probably already the biggest art and photography specific, does not do anything else marketing agency in the world. And if anyone knows of one, by the way, tell me about it because I'd love to hear about it. You just don't see them, art or photography specific. That's all they do, marketing agencies, because it's hard. Selling art is hard. And we're good at it because we've been doing this for coming up on 8 years now. And I've got the data of 4,500 plus customers. And the ones that are really selling great art, I look very in detail on their analytics. I know what works, as well as we're good at marketing to begin with. So it's been really cool too, because I understand that we're not the cheapest option on the block, right? And the last thing I want you to do is like pay, sign up, and then feel like you're getting nickeled and dimed on these various other different agency services. But what's great about it is, I have an entire team now that are just doing Instagram tune-ups every single solitary day, and they just learn more and more. So guess what happens? After they do this for 30 different artists, get the feedback, look at the data, it goes right back into the playbooks. It goes right back into the playbooks that are there for everyone. DIY, follow it, do it yourself. And then we teach, and then they come in and they teach. And it's like, you know, I believe as time goes on, as the agency continues to grow and mature, I will have an army of digital marketers that are only selling art and photography all day. And so the learnings that I'm going to get doing that we're going to get as an organization are just going to be, it's going to be a game changer. It's already on its way to being a game changer. Okay. Sorry, I couldn't see the chat over there. Okay, good. But yeah, that's what I've got. This last Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Q4 period was the biggest we've ever seen. You don't have to take my word for it. Yes, we've sold more art and photography on our platform than we ever have at any point in time in history. It's up like 225% for what it was last year. But again, the data squares with everyone. E-commerce sales dominating COVID as a result, right? Home decor sales across the board exploding right now because everyone's spending more time at home. People are leaving the cities. Look at the housing market. It's the hottest it's ever been. People are just leaving and getting bigger houses with more white walls that need art, as well as everything else in home decor. So fantastic time to be an artist or a photographer in my estimation. No better time ever. And, you get the business model right. You sell DTC, direct to consumer. You don't have any middleman. You're not relying on an art gallery. You're not doing the show and fair circuit. Is it a panacea? No, you still have to work on the marketing, and that part sucks. That part's hard, right? It takes consistent work, but the economics of it have never been better, in my estimation. Excuse me. So at that point, I think open it up for Q&A. See what kind of questions you guys have. You can ask me literally a question about anything. We normally do this raise hand thing, and I don't mean physically. Only Eric's got his camera on anyway. But you can leave a question in the chat. There's a bunch of you guys watching on the live stream. If you want to leave it there, I can answer it that way. But if you look in like the participants window, and so in the bottom left-hand corner it says, or sort of center bottom of the Zoom, there's a participants icon, and you can click that, and then at the bottom of that window it gives you the ability to raise your hand. You can see Amzi's got his raised now, so I know he's got a question. I'll start with him. Go ahead, Amzi.
Okay, it's just one simple question. Well, maybe it's two. Okay.
Okay.
What are the things not to do? Because you talked about a lot of those things, the other things to do,
Mm-hmm.
which that's positive, but I think it's important for everyone to know, myself also, what not to do. Because I could be out there working my butt off doing something for 5 years that gets me nowhere
Yeah.
because I don't know.
Don't spend any time on SEO. I don't want you doing that. Don't spend any time marketing on Pinterest. I don't want you doing that. Don't spend any time running ads for a 30% discount buy today. I don't want you doing that. I don't want you building a store on Facebook, or I don't want you building a store on Instagram. That is never a good time. You need to own everything. Constantly be doing things that grow your email list. Be market. You're asking me not to do. Yeah, I would say those are big no-nos. I would say don't waste any time on Twitter. I haven't seen anyone sell anything from Twitter. I do not see any artists that are making Google ads pay. So you can ignore all of those. What you need to be doing is regularly marketing on the socials, because that's where all the attention is. And you need to be constantly growing your email list. You need to be marketing regularly, i.e. sharing your awesome content, talking about your process, and not having sales, such that when the time is right to have a sale, you can have a sale and you're not on sale, all the time. So it's pretty simple at that point. Then it's just pressure over time and consistency.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Was it just the one question, Namzi, or you have two?
Oh, well, I'm trying to get in touch with Matt to join, and he hasn't called me back yet. So maybe you could tell him to call me.
I will tell him. April,
All
go light Matt up in Slack. Tell him to call Amzi.
right. Okay, thank
All
you.
right. Thanks, Amzi. All right, Eric, you are next. And quickly in the chat, Bunny, no, once you pay once, then it's done. You don't ever pay it again. And one of the things that I'm most proud of as a business, and Eric, you're up next. You'll have to unmute your mic. I'll tell you when you get it. But one second. One of the things I'm most proud of is once you pay and you join, like the product that is Art Storefronts is just continually getting better. It just keeps getting better. We keep adding more features, more features, more features. We keep adding better education, better education, better education, more support, more support, more support. And you don't ever have to pay for that. There's very few products where you sign up and they keep getting better and better and better and leaps and bounds better with no additional fees. We don't charge anything else. Like, you don't ever have to use the agency if you don't want to use the agency. All of those learnings are just going back, and our education product is like 10xing in quality, and no one has to pay for it. That's just what you get as a result of being a member. So I love that. Eric, go ahead.
Yeah, Patrick, I sent you some questions earlier this morning. I'll just ask them now.
Probably emailed me. That can tend to be a black hole, because I get like 10. It's not an excuse, and we're trying to figure out a system, but I get a lot. So don't take it
No
personally if I don't.
worries,
Yeah.
no worries. Perhaps everyone is interested, or more than just me at any rate. So look, the site is great.
Mm-hmm.
The features are great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much with you though, that for me, this is really about getting the marketing
Yes.
set up and
Yes.
running from literally zero,
Yes.
absolute zero,
Yes.
nothing,
Yes.
nada. Assuming that somebody, once the website is set up and whatnot, and that's for me, I work with this stuff all the time. I've got
Yep.
a website for another business. It's not really a huge issue for me.
Okay.
But I'm wondering, what is happening month one, month two, month three?
Mm-hmm.
Assuming somebody's putting in, a tremendous commitment. I'd like to get an idea of what a tremendous commitment looks like.
Mm-hmm.
When does this thing start to pay for itself? What is step one? What's step two? What's step three, etc. for the first, let's say, 6 to 12 months?
Okay. Let me sort of unpack that. There's a couple questions in there. Starting from scratch, right? You need to have the perspective of how long it's going to take, right? Not going to be overnight. You got a bunch of work to do. That being said, we have some like pretty hacky, chicken and the egg problem techniques that get you going early on. Once you execute against those, you'll get the ball rolling, you'll have your email list rolling, and then you just need to market consistently all year long, and it's going to get better and better and better and better and better. The difficulty in saying how quickly is it going to be paid off, or when does income start coming in, you can't really compare anyone's beginning to someone else's middle to someone else's like end. We see all kinds, right? Some people's art is extremely well validated. Like, they have a product that's really, really hot. They come right in, they pay it off in the first week. Others are a year and a half in until they do, and everything in between. So it kind of comes down to, one, your product, how desirable it is. Two, how consistently and how much time you spend on the marketing. And so, to your point, we have even every like strata imaginable. We've got people that spend 2 hours a week. We've got people that spend 10 hours a week. We have people that spend 20 hours a week. I think it's less about how many hours a week you spend and more about giving me 52 of them in a row. 52 weeks of whatever the hours are. If you only have 3 hours a week, give me 3 hours a week for 52 weeks and do not stop, right? The consistency is really the most important part about it. And it's where everyone fails. Everyone gets like, I'm charged up. This is going to be my year. I'm really going to take my marketing seriously. And they do it for a month and they quit and then get any results, right? Like, you have to build a momentum and get it going and get it going and get it going. Side question, how is your art and or photography sold up till now? Are you literally just getting started, like scratch?
Really just getting started. I mean, I used to do this commercially.
Mm-hmm.
I have a huge catalog of images, but never sold wall art to anybody.
Got it. What's the nature of the images?
Pardon me?
What's the subject matter?
It's a variety, landscape, and frankly, a lot of stuff that's sort of on the abstract side.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, I mean, for you, step one is you got to validate that it'll sell, right? You need to make sure that there's a market for what you have, and you won't know until you try, right? Because you've got a couple of different niches there that you have, and you never know which one's going to take off. So, if I were you, I don't even know where my little stack of. Let's see, back. Give me a second. I want to show you because this is important. All right. So everyone tries to make it more complicated than it is. You go through your catalog. You're not going to have the data, so you're going to make educated guesses on which ones you think are your best ones. You're going to get them printed out on the various different types so that you can show them. These are small. Here's a fine art paper. Here's acrylic. Notice how these things are very, very small. Here's wood. Here's metal, ready to hang. Here's a canvas gallery wrap. And so you see how very quickly I'm able to show and articulate, like, the difference between an acrylic and a canvas gallery wrap is this: they're both ready to hang. Neither need a frame. And what you want to do is you want to get your work. If depending on where your budget's at, notice how all those pieces were small. Pick 5 to 7, 7 to 10 of what you think are your best. Okay. Order the samples so you have them, one image each side. We even have a website where you can do this, but notice how they're small. These are really, really small. This whole entire order that I just cycled through only cost like $110. And now you've got all the various different media types, and you can articulate what they look like to your potential customers, right? Go live on Facebook or Instagram, wherever you have bigger following. Do you have following on either one or no?
No, I don't.
No, you have zero,
I
zero,
mean, I got
zero.
a tiny following on Instagram, 10 people, but basically my friends.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just your friends. Either way, you need to have samples, period, right? Back in the day, pre-COVID, I would have said, okay, Eric, you need to get prints, like I said, and take the plunge. I don't care if it's a booth at the farmer's market or the local fair or show, whatever you have that's like native to you, near you, and spend 8 hours on a Saturday and show the work off and see if you can sell any of it. That's it, full stop. Everyone likes to think that they have to go do something digitally before they do that. No, you need to find out whether or not the work will sell, right? And it might not. It might be one kind and they ignore all the other kinds, and you just don't know until you know. You have to take the product to market and see whether or not it'll sell, right? So pre-COVID, that would have been how I would have said do it, right? Now in a post-COVID world, like it's a pandemic world, whatever you want to say, you have to figure out a way to do that without having to go somewhere in person, right? Because no one's showing up to those things anymore. So, you're gonna have to get creative. You're gonna have to get creative on how you would do that. If you have zero following on the socials, then you can't just go do a live broadcast and go through them like I just did and say like, "Hey guys, it's Eric. I've been sitting around in this pandemic and it's time to launch my art business. I figured I was going to give it a shot, so I'm just going to go through all my pieces. If anybody wants any of these things, make an offer, right? And see if you can sell them, right? So that's sort of a hurdle that you need to get over. You need to get past. I mean, I'm sure if you're a commercial photographer, you're very good at what you do and you have some incredible images. You just need to figure out what amongst your catalog will sell the best, right? So it's an important thing to solve before you go and invest a bunch of money and build out a huge website and do everything and start marketing, because you don't know if the stuff's going to sell, right? Like, the analogy I give is, let's take it out of art. We're both cooks and we both want a restaurant, right? And so I think in my head, like, okay, I got to go down to the bank and get a loan. I need to come up with a business plan. I need to go and rent a space for 2 years. We're way after the pandemic, so I'll just take that out of your head. I need to go rent a space. I need to hire staff, get the tablecloths and all of that, and get a sign out front and open that thing up and see if I can make it, right? And that's what most people think they need to do in their head. You, on the other hand, are like, nah, screw all that. You go to Costco and you buy a rolling cart, and that next weekend you make your food, push it right into an office building and put up a sign and say, Eric's Tacos, 2 for $5, right? And you see what happens. By the end of the day, everyone's smelling that. You've got a line around the corner of the cart. You're like, okay, I'm in business, right? But what if I did it and I pushed my cart in there and it was crickets? People are like, nah, this is just not good. I don't like it. I don't want it, right? So at that point, I'm in a position where I can say, okay, the tacos didn't work. Let's switch to the burgers, right? And try the burgers and repeat that result and see if I can get it. So the key is that knowing you have a product that sells. Like if you had a line around the corner, landlord's like, can you come back next week? That was phenomenal. Like, okay, you've got something to launch a restaurant on there, right? But you have to figure out which dish it is that works and resonates. That make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lot of process in there, but it's a very good question. Like, I think if I were in your shoes and I didn't have the digital following at all, you have to get creative, right? So you might have to try and look for, depending on your town and how hard it's locked down, to see if there is, that opportunity to get out somewhere and have a booth and show the stuff off, right? Like I always tell this story, you have to kind of use what's unique to you that you have, if every asset is a golf club, you got to use what golf club you have in the bag. And let me give it, for instance, every Saturday and Sunday, I ride down to this one coffee shop because my kids love the cinnamon rolls. And it's I'd go down this main drag. This guy lives on the main drag, and he gets his easels, and he just sets them all up on the driveway. And he's got like 20 pieces all over the driveway every Saturday and Sunday. So that's what that guy's got in his bag, right? He's geographically in a place where he can get away with it, right? So you kind of have to think through what you have where you could display the stuff. Like maybe you have a buddy that owns a restaurant and you could print all the work up and put it into the restaurant, right? Or a coffee shop or something else. But you want to get the validation that what it is will sell, and it needs to sell. It needs to sell. That's a key part of the whole operation.
Okay.
Yeah. So having me said all that, where does that place your mind? Like, what do you think your next step would be now?
Well, I'm in New York City in the winter during COVID. So,
Yeah.
There's not a lot of, the farmers markets are closed down, the
all of it.
restaurants
So hard
are
right there.
shut down as of today.
Yes.
So, it would
What
have
can
to
you
be
do?
some kind of
Yeah.
all digital strategy.
Yeah. But again, like, do you have a friend that has a big following on Facebook or a big following on Instagram, and you tell that friend, like, look, it's COVID, we're bored as hell, I've got a bunch of prints, I'm willing to do a giveaway on a couple and try and sell a couple, can we go live on your page, right? Like, you find out something like that, and you probably do. Like, we all have networks, we all have friends, right? There's something that you can use and you can leverage, or don't, or take the other side of the coin, which is fraught with its own danger. But you say, I know I'm damn good with the camera. I know that I can come up with some imagery that will work. I don't know if what I have is going to work, but I know I want to do this business, and I'm willing to run it. I'm willing to go at it. Get the site, launch it, start working on the marketing, see if you get any validation. If you don't, worst case, just know, like, okay, I'm going to figure out the subject material that people want and potentially create it at one point in time. And so,
Yeah, I mean, I'm capable of doing that. I see,
yeah,
and I also see what other people have up there. So people have landscapes, seascapes, florals, still lifes, a little bit of abstract, a little bit of street stuff. So I do know what I'm doing as a photographer, and I mean, look, there's some genres I'm never going to do sports, but there are other genres that I would be able to do.
yeah.
So I'm not too worried about that aspect of it. I'm just not really sure, assuming that this is validated, assuming that it was validated, but still without a list, how do you go about building that list on
So we have a bunch of like, especially early on, sort of advanced hacky marketing techniques that we don't talk about publicly. You launch with a contest, and there's some things that you can go through there that we can talk about. Then we have some other non-traditional lead generation ideas, which are, I'm not trying to be like furtive about it, but we don't tell anyone because there's a tiny arbitrage at this moment that this thing works. And what will happen is we'll eventually ruin it. More people will figure it out, and they'll have to go and find another one. But right now it works. And you get going on that, and you start grinding on that, and you build the email list the same way every other human being does, one email at a time, right? But instead of just trying to figure that out on your own, we teach you step by step by step. But going back to the validation thing, and going back to the restaurant analogy, like, we have a ton of customers that the restaurant's open and they're working hard on the restaurant and they're making a little bit of money, but it's not mapping to their ambitions, right? So you can get the restaurant up and running, start getting some customers in the door, start selling your product. It's not making the money that you want to make. Well, guess what? You keep the dishes that you have, but you just constantly start rotating through new dishes, right? Rotating through new dishes, new ideas. That one artist that I showed you earlier, and I'll give you the case in point. I might as well share a screen again. Let me find him. This guy cut his teeth doing the fair and show circuit for like 10 years. Okay, for I think 10 years, some ridiculous. I had him on the podcast. I can't remember what the exact figure is. And he was about to quit, and he came up with what he called his Sacred Heart series, instead of art, he art. And it's just basically a bunch of rock stars, right? That he started painting, and a couple other pop icon types. And he was just doing that forever. That was his bread and butter, and that was his restaurant, right? And he was doing really, really well with it. He was killing it. I mean, has a very, very strong business doing it. He sort of pivoted to this Life Force stuff. He did a Santa Claus, and I'm trying to look at this one. He just did this Jesus one just recently, right? And totally different subject material. They're not rock stars per se, right? And it ended up being one of his best-selling pieces. And so essentially, he's got a restaurant, right? And the restaurant serves dishes that people know and like and love, but he's constantly on his own rotating different things, going through different things, right? And I have this stat that I quote because I love it. And when Picasso died, he had 45,000 unsold pieces. 45,000. And as it turns out, he didn't believe in wills because he was like, that messed with his head about death. He like wouldn't think about it. So his heirs squabbled over it for ever. But the larger point was 45,000 unsold pieces. Not every one of those was a hit. He was just iterating to figure out what the hit was, and then figured it out, sold it for years, and then started iterating until he figured out what the hit was. And that's how he was his entire career. So I honestly believe that our best-selling artists and photographers are constantly iterating, regardless, right? Coming up with new styles, new ways to do things, new ways to present, and it's been going. The ones that do that end up growing the quickest, because like you just don't know what you don't know, right? Like, and there's a lot of competition out there, so you have to be able to differentiate. But yeah, that's what I got.
Okay, appreciate it.
Yeah. And good luck in New York. I know it's not easy in the city right now. We got a bunch of folks that are in there that are just like, and lockdown again and all the rest of it. Crazy times that we live in. Okay. Anybody else? Questions? Bunny, I think I answered your question. I might as well unmute you because we have a small enough group that I can do that. You'll need to hit the mic icon bottom left, Bunny, if you want to talk. Did you get it? I can't tell if you did or not. Where did she go? Where's Bunny? Yeah, okay. Looks like you're muted. I'll move on to Mary. Go ahead, Mary.
Hey Patrick, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
All right. I had a question. I know that the price is going to be changing pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
With that price change, is there any chance that there's going to be some kind of different pay plan with it, or installments, or financing, or something, so
Yeah, I
that
know they offer financing now. We like went through the whole song and dance to get it.
they do?
Yeah, get it up and running. Yeah, there is, but I think, and if you've got good credit or whatever it is, I think the rates are reasonable, and we've definitely had a few people do it. But I'm told, I think that like PayPal has some sort of initiative right now where new businesses, where they're offering like a bananas low rate, and so you could potentially do something like that and limp in. But you could
They're offering a what slow rate?
like a bananas like really really good low rate, like a very low
Oh,
interest rate. So
okay.
and that's just what I've been told. But if you've spoken to somebody, Mary, you can call them back and ask about the financing plan. They usually don't talk about it, but we definitely have one.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Okay, I gotta check and see what's on the socials too. And I should say too, prior to today, I would have said the most important thing you can do is have a sale in the water right now, immediately, because you're still in the buying season till Christmas. While I still think that's incredibly important, this is the first week where we've actually seen sales slow down a little bit, because it's just, people are starting to get into the Christmas crazy period. But I still think between now and the end of the year, given lockdowns, given everything that's going on, still just a fantastic, fantastic time to have your artwork on sale on your site, whatever that site might be. Just attempt to, um, you know, um, take advantage of this just crazy Q4 buying period. But that's what I've got. Any other questions? You can throw them in the chat, or you can raise your hand. I'm going to check the socials quickly. Otherwise, I think we will leave it there for today. And I hope everyone has a phenomenal rest of their week. And we run these things 3 times a week. So, Tiffany, I saw you came on late. Also, too, once it's done, we'll send you any links that we talked about. I don't think we talked. No, we talked about a few links, and then also a replay, so you can rewatch the presentation as well. But I think on that note, we'll leave it there, guys. Thank you. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Okay.